Once upon a time, there lived a man and a woman in the parish of Llanlavan, in a place called Herd. Work had become scarce, so the man said to his wife, "I'm going to look for work. You stay here and manage things at home." He bid her farewell and travelled eastward, eventually arriving at a farmer's house where he asked for a job. "What kind of work can you do?" asked the farmer. "I can do all sorts," Ivan replied. They agreed on a wage of £3 for the year. When the year ended, the farmer showed him the money. "Here you are, Ivan," he said. "But if you'd rather, I'll give you a piece of advice instead of your wages." "I'll take the money," said Ivan. "No, let me tell you the advice," insisted the farmer. "All right then," said Ivan. And the farmer said, "Never leave the old road for the sake of a new one." They agreed on another year's work with the same wages. At the end of that year, Ivan chose the advice instead of the money, which was, "Never stay where an old man is married to a young woman." The third year passed the same way, and the final piece of advice was, "Honesty is the best policy." After that, Ivan decided it was time to return to his wife. "Don't leave today," said the farmer. "My wife is baking tomorrow, and she'll make you a cake to take home to your good wife." The next day, as Ivan was leaving, the farmer handed him the cake and said, "Take this to your wife, but don't break it open until you are at your happiest moment together." Ivan thanked them and made his way home. Along the way, he reached Wainher and met 3 merchants from his own parish of Trey Rhin, returning from Exeter Fair. "Ivan," they cried, "come with us. We're glad to see you. Where have you been all this time?" "I've been working in service," said Ivan, "and now I'm heading home to my wife." "Come along with us, you're most welcome." But when they turned off onto a new road, Ivan stuck to the old one. Robbers soon attacked them as they passed through the fields. They shouted "thieves," and Ivan, hearing them, shouted too. Startled by his cries, the robbers fled. The merchants continued on the new road, Ivan on the old, and they met again at Market Jew. "Oh, Ivan," they said, "we owe you our lives. If not for your shout, we'd have been done for. Come stay with us, our treat." When they reached the inn where they usually stayed, Ivan said, "I'd like to see the landlord." "The landlord?" They laughed. "Why?" "Here's the landlady, young and lovely. The old man's in the kitchen if you really want to see him." Ivan went to the kitchen and found the frail old man turning a spit. "Oh dear," thought Ivan, "I won't stay here. I'll find another place next door." "Not yet," said the merchants. "At least have supper with us." Now, the landlady had secretly planned with a monk from Market Jew to kill her husband that night and pin it on the guests. But Ivan, lying in bed next door, noticed a hole in the wall. Through it, he saw the monk and heard him whisper, "I should cover this hole in case someone sees us." He turned his back to block it, and as the landlady murdered her husband, Ivan took out his knife and cut a round piece from the monk's robe. The next morning, the landlady cried murder, accusing the merchants. With no one else in the house, they were arrested and thrown in prison. Eventually, Ivan visited them. "Oh, Ivan," they moaned, "we're doomed. Our host was killed, and they say we did it." "Tell the justices to summon the real killers," said Ivan. "How would we know who they are?" "I do," said Ivan. "If I can't prove it, hang me instead." He told the justices what he'd seen and produced the piece of the monk's robe. With that evidence, the merchants were freed and the monk and the landlady were both hanged. they all left Markadju together. When they reached Coed Khan, Wifer, the wood of the heap of stones of watching, where their paths split, the merchants urged Ivan to stay with them. But Ivan was eager to get home and went his own way. When he arrived, his wife greeted him, just in time. "I've found a purse of gold. There's no name on it, but I'm sure it belongs to the great lord nearby. I was wondering what to do when you turned up." Ivan remembered the third piece of advice, honesty is the best policy, and said, "Let's return it to the lord." They went to the castle, but the lord wasn't there, so they left the purse with the gatekeeper and returned home. Some time later, the lord stopped by their house for a drink of water. Ivan's wife said, "I hope you found your purse safe with all the money in it." "My purse? What purse?" asked the lord. "The one I left at the castle," said Ivan. "Come with me," said the lord. "Let's look into this." At the castle, they pointed out the man who had taken the purse, and he was forced to return it and was dismissed from service. Pleased with Ivan's honesty, the lord offered him the job instead. "Honesty is the best policy," cried Ivan, gleeful in his new role. "I'm over the moon." Then he remembered the cake his old master had given him. Thinking this was his happiest moment, he broke it open, and to his astonishment, inside was the full 3 years' wages. And so ends another tale from the shadowed paths of Britain's haunted past. If you enjoyed this journey into the old world, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. There are many more tales still to tell, so make sure to subscribe and come back soon for more stories from the mists of time. If you'd like to read the full story yourself, you'll find the link to Joseph Jacobs' Celtic Fairy Tales on Project Gutenberg in the description below. Until next time, keep your candle lit and beware the crossroads.